All right, thank you to you guys for participating. I do appreciate that. So we've got RS is 1, the whole thing is 13. So I could take RS plus ST equals RT. There's my segment addition postulate. And then I can just fill in, 1 plus x equals 13. And of course, I know you guys were able to do this, without writing it all out. That's all right, not a big deal. But when we get to the more difficult problems, you're going to want to start with that. So it's just a habit that I like to get into. Same thing for this one. I'm going to start out with my segment addition postulate of TU plus UV equals TV. And then I just want you to tell me what TU is. Yeah, and I don't know why I put 12 twice. I'll probably have to switch that up before 6th hour. But we've got 12 again. So I wrote out my segment addition postulate, plug in those numbers, or you can subtract 32 minus 20, and we'll be all good. This one's a little bit more difficult. I'm trying to find KL. So trying to find KL. So here I want us to write out our segment addition postulate. So instead of having two pieces to add together, I'm going to say what plus what plus what equals IL. So what are my three pieces that add together to get IL? If you guys could put just that in the chat. All right, looks good. Yeah, so I've got these three pieces, IJ, JK, and KL. And a lot of kids get stuck on this one specifically. Did I show the last one? No. So problems like this, where you've got 3 or 4 different pieces, tend to trip kids up. I know it takes me a second to just sit back and think about it. So whenever I write out my segment addition postulate, at least a little bit, that does help me. But today we're going to talk about midpoints and bisectors. So we're not going to do anything too fancy today, no big formulas. We're saving that for tomorrow, but today should just be a nice relaxing day of geometry. So just to start out with some vocab, I've got M is the midpoint of AB. And then here's some vocab for us. This is saying segment AM is congruent to segment MB. So you'll notice I've got just a segment above those names. I don't have a line or array, just a nice segment. No arrows. And that symbol in the middle there is saying that they are congruent. So congruent is just, it's another way of saying that they're the same length or the same size. They're exactly the same figure. It's just that when we talk about congruence, we're not talking about like a specific number. We're talking about the segment or the shape or whatever itself. And the difference here is that AM equals MB. This right here is talking about, the specific length or the specific measure. So maybe in red here, I'm talking about specifically like 7 feet long or 7 feet tall. So maybe I'm talking about 7 feet tall when I've got these specific measures. But when I'm talking about congruence, I'm just saying they're the same size. And yeah, I'm going to post these on Google Classroom. I'm going to give you guys another review sheet tomorrow as well. Well, not tomorrow or Friday. I'll give you a review sheet that has everything you need to know on it. It'll have examples. It'll have some practice problems that you could do that you don't necessarily have to do. But you'll have all of this stuff ready for you for the quiz. I'll probably put it up on Friday because you need tomorrow's lesson as well. So again, midpoints and bisectors are going to be today's big ideas. And a midpoint is what the name implies. A midpoint is just a point right in the middle. It cuts my segment or shape or whatever it is. This midpoint cuts this segment in half. So here's half, here's the other half. They're exactly the same size. And you can tell because it's marked here. So a midpoint is just, it's a type of bisector. So to bisect something means to cut into 2 equal pieces. So I've got a bisector right in the middle there. It's bisecting my segment. It's cutting it into 2 equal pieces. And that bisector is point M. And I'll give you guys some time to write if you need it. But I've got this segment here, PQ. It's being cut in half or bisected by point M. So all that's telling me is that these 2 pieces are exactly the same size. They're congruent. So if one of these is 2 2/7, then the other one has to be 2 2/7. So today everything's going to be equal. All of our segments are going to be cut in half. So no fancy formulas today. We're just cutting things in half. Everything's going to be the same size on the left as it is on the right. And then tomorrow we'll start some graphing. But for today, just this. All right, so our next slide here. We saw a similar thing where we had, point M in the middle on our last slide. That was cutting my segment PQ in half. But now instead of just a midpoint, I have this line. And it's still a bisector. So this bisector still means that my segment is cut into 2 equal pieces. So that's not changing at all. It's a different thing cutting it in half now. So now line N is my bisector. It was point M on my last slide. Now it's this line here, line N. So now line N is my bisector. So everything's being cut right in half today. And like we saw earlier, if this is 2, then the other side is 2. Or if one side is 10, then this is 10. They're going to be equal. So anytime you have a midpoint or a bisector, then you can say that this side is exactly the same, or it's equal to the other side. So we're just going to set these equal to each other and then solve for x. So if you guys could take a second on your piece of paper, and I'm not going to move this at all. We'll just draw this out. You don't have to label line N, that's fine if you don't want to. But we just want to make sure that I've got my 2 sides. I know it's bisected. All right, I'll get you another 30 seconds or so to write this down. So we should have had x is 7.5. So 2x is 15, x is 7.5. And then usually I'm going to ask you to, substitute in x to find the whole thing, or to find one part. So actually, you know what, let me change this. Let's do RM, so it's less algebra for you guys. I mean, as much as I love doing algebra, I don't think that's probably the best use of our time right now. So I'm just going to plug in 7.5 for x. And then whenever you guys get that, if you could put what RM is in the chat, I would appreciate that. All right, awesome. Thank you, guys. So we've got 4 times 7.5 is 30, plus 3 gets me 33. So this is really the only type of problem we're going to do today. We've got a couple more examples, and then we'll talk about our upcoming quiz that'll be Monday, and you'll have some time for homework. So I'll probably bring the homework up, and we can work on that together. Hopefully not too bad. It's about 10 questions. So just before we move on, anytime you're working with bisectors or with midpoints, the two sides are going to be the same. Just set your expressions up equal to each other and then solve from there. So same thing down here. My bisector, the thing cutting my segment in half, is line L. So line L is the bisector here. And then I know that bisector means to cut into two equal pieces. So anytime I bisect something, I'm cutting it into two equal parts. So here's one part, and that's equal to this other part. So all we'll do is set those two equal to each other and solve. So I've got 5x minus 3 equals 11x, sorry, 11 minus 2x. And then just be careful about, if you see a negative 2x, to get rid of it, you would add 2x. Or if you want to get rid of a negative 3, you'd add 3 to both sides. Just being careful about our algebra here. So I'll give you guys another minute, and I'll just have a solve for x on this one. So whenever you get x, if you could put that one in the chat. All right, awesome job, guys. Yep, so add the 2 over, 7x equals, and then you add 3 to both sides. So x is 2. And then if I asked you to solve for MQ, then you do 11 minus 2 times 2, or 11 minus 4, to get 7. So each side would be 7. Here's 7. Here's 7. The whole thing is 14. So this is our very last example. This is all we're doing today. So we will have a ton of time for homework or to talk about simplified radical form, to ask questions about the quiz, whatever you guys want to do. So I'm going to give us about 3 to 4 minutes in our breakout rooms. Our bisector, again, is our midpoint, M. So bisector, to bisect means to cut into two equal pieces. And you guys are definitely going to want to know that for second semester and for chapter 2. Our bisectors cut things into two equal pieces. So I'll send us to our breakout rooms, and I will see you guys there. Hey guys, just let me know what questions I can answer for you.
The answer's 4, right? You're on mute. Okay.
Hey guys, just let me know what questions I can answer for you. Now that we're all back together, for our last question here, again, all we're doing with our midpoints and bisectors is we're taking our two pieces. We know that it's bisected, it's cut in half, so we'll just set our two pieces equal to each other. And then we'll solve x is 4. And then if we wanted to, we could substitute x back in to solve for MW or VM. Oh, that's weird. All right, well, it froze on my screen. So either way, our last one would have been 4. You have, I think, 10 homework questions tonight. There's a bookwork assignment. So let me pull that up. We have a quiz on Monday over 1, 2, and 1, 3. So period 4, classwork. I'll post all of our notes for today. So yeah, you've got 2, 4, 6, You have 8 questions for homework tonight. As always, I'm here from 1 to 2. So join my office hours link from 1 to 2 if you want to talk about the homework. Otherwise, I'll see you tomorrow.